Here's the headlines we saw out of Italy just over the last couple of days and weeks. Italy coronavirus deaths pass 7,500 amid fears of spread to the south. They're overrun. Why have so many coronavirus patients died in Italy? The country's high death toll is due to an aging population, overstretched health system, and the way fatalities are reported. This is the Telegraph just saying this. We're hearing, I heard from friends. We have family members that live in the Netherlands right now, which, by the way, I believe are taking more of a herd immunity approach and not isolating people completely. But our friends called and said, what about the deaths in Italy? People are dying like crazy. I've had friends call from the UK saying they're dying, they can't fill their beds, there's nothing they can do. And, when you look, you can read. Remember, let's look at this article. One of them, it looks something like this. In Milan, intensive care to collapse for the flu. 48 seriously ill patients already, are postponed operations. We're having to shut the thing down. Look at how it describes this. Record numbers, the complications of the flu, especially pneumonia, put the reanimations in crisis. 48 cases of seriously ill patients hospitalized from Christmas to today in the intensive care unit of Policlinico San Raffaele, San Gerardo of Monza, and San Matteo of Pavia. The reference hospitals in Lombardy for the use of the ECMO, the machine that replaces the lungs. The problems overlap, difficulties in welcoming new patients, postponement of scheduled surgical interventions, and suspended reservations for the bedside of the resuscitations intended to welcome the sick after the operations. Extraordinary shifts for doctors and nurses called back from the holidays. It's a crisis, except what I'm reading to you came from December of, 2018. You see, what Telegraph is reporting to you is that Italy has one of the worst, most crumbling infrastructure for a health system in the industrialized world. They had a flu outbreak where 48 patients sent the whole thing into collapse, as they described it. We've known this for years. The World Health Organization has been monitoring Italy, saying this health system is terrible. They can't even handle it when they have an average-sized flu outbreak. And yet this is what we're allowing our hysteria to come from. I just wanted to point that out. But now let's get down to the numbers.
Purtroppo dobbiamo anche registrare quest'oggi un incremento dei deceduti di 793 nuovi deceduti. Voglio ricordare ancora una volta che noi conteggiamo tutti i deceduti e quindi non facciamo una distinzione di deceduti per e con il coronavirus.
So this is right from the website. We went from the website. You can go there today. This just updated this morning, okay? And so what this is showing us right here is it's a graph. It's multiple years. If you look down here, what you'll see is it starts and it goes on a weekly basis, okay? We start in 2016, week 4, 2016, week 6. By here is 2017, week 36. 2018, week 20, 2019, you get the idea. It's about 4 years that's being related here. Now, let's just blow out for a second, and let me show you that when you look at Europe, what's interesting is you do see, now, this red line we see here, that's the median level of death in Europe, okay? What that's saying is this is the average. So this is a constantly updated surveillance system that every week will show, are we below our average death rate or are we above it? And so you have lines, you have 4 and 8, and you can see in Austria, it went all the way up above the 8 here. When was this? This is back in 2016, and in fact, we saw it similar. Italy experienced the same thing, very high, whatever that was. This all happened in 2016, and it happened across Europe because those countries are very close together. Whatever this was, we didn't quarantine then, right? And if you come along, another blip, this one going up above, Italy hits the top line. You get the idea. We see these rises. So this is very, very accurate information. It's what scientists use to come to their conclusion, right? So this is how the system works. Well, we went there this morning, and we just tracked Italy. So we came across, we decided, let's just look at Italy, shall we? And where are we at? And when we come over here to just this last week. Now, when we looked at this earlier in the week, we were just below this first line, and now we're just above this first line. We're not touching the top line. We're not above the top line like we were over here. We are below the top line, okay? This is what has the entire world terrorized, that this blip right here really matters, that we should be locking down the world right now. But look at other countries. If you look at England, who is now currently in lockdown, look what's happening to them. They're below that zero line. They're having less mortality right now than they had the same time last year. So is almost every other. Austria, way down. Belgium, right on the line. Estonia. I mean, I could show you the whole graph, but we're just giving you a glimpse. The only blip is right here in Italy. Well, this website also has a brilliant map feature. And so you can pull up the map and see where is the map when we look at Europe in totality. Remember, this is excess deaths. This is deaths that either goes above the average line or below it. Let's take a look at the map, shall we? Here it is. This is the day, week 11, right now, 2020. We now see a map of all of Europe. Now, I don't know if we can get close enough, but you can see how they do this. Light blue means there's no excess death, mortality taking place right now as we speak. This medium blue is above expected. It's a little bit high. And then we go to high, which is, a darker blue. Then there's very high, where we obviously are reaching some sort of critical point, right? Now, I would think, based on the news and the way that they're all covering it, that we have got to lock everybody down or Grandpa will die. You're putting money before the elderly. You cannot do that. But let's look at this map, shall we? I don't know if the colors come across, but you can see that right now, all over Europe, all of Europe, for the most part, is in a no excess point right now. Not the UK, nobody. Not Spain, nobody is having some massive excessive death rate. But let's do focus. Here's Italy. And this is what I'm telling you. I'm showing you exactly what's being presented today as we speak. Last week when we looked at this was light blue. So this week the numbers are starting to come in. It's what we're seeing. It's going up. But how bad is it? This blue, I don't know if you can see it, relates to this box right here, which means they're at a high level. They're not at very high. They're at a high level. They're at a high level in the middle of what's being described as the peak of their crisis right now. It's what California is preparing for and what New York is preparing for. Their beds are overrun, but they're at a high level. Now, you might be saying, Del, you can't knock the seriousness of that. It's true. Look, there is obviously a problem going on here. But remember, there have been problems before. And we have never locked anyone down before. But let me show you how this works. How about let's go back to 2019, because you'll find this interesting. Remember this color. 2019, week 7 of 2019, last year, look what was happening there. There you have an issue that's, we have above expected, all through Europe here, and you have multiple nations that are in the high zone, exactly where Italy's at right now. These are gigantic populations and more of a problem across Europe and up into, Sweden and these areas up here, the Nordic countries. That's what I meant to say. Okay, so you could say, arguably, this looks about the same, if not worse, than where Italy's at. Italy's a little better here, but it's worse in other nations. But this didn't create a quarantine situation. We didn't lock down, all of Europe and all of the world, right? Let's take it back another year. How about let's go to 2018? Take a look at this. 2018. What is happening here? My God, we are well above high now. We have Italy in very high, very high, very high. Other nations in the high zone. A few are staying out of it. Whatever was happening week 1 in 2018, this looks horrifying compared to where we're at right now, yet still never locked down the country, never ever, destroyed our way of life and our economy. Do we have 2017? Let's see 2017. Oh my God! What was going on week 2 in 2017? Look at this. Very high, all through multiple nations. UK, others in the high zone where Italy is at right now. This must have been, what, the Great Plague? This what must have looked like the end of the world. Or was it? Remember that we are being told that, I mean, we're acting like this is what's happening, but let's go back to 2020. Remember, this is where we were back in 2017, no problem. Where are we at right now? That is where the world is shutting down at.